Assyrians and the Babylonian exile. The Assyrian Empire. The Assyrian Empire was at its highest peak in the 7th century BCE. The empire stretched across modern Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, and parts of Turkey, Iran, and Egypt. The Assyrian Empire had a vast library and a zoological park. The rise of Assyria. The Assyrian rise to dominance began in the late Bronze Age in a city called Ashur. It was located along the Tigris River in northern Iraq. The city name shared its name with a god thought to be the embodiment of the city, and later the entire empire. Later on, around 1300 BCE, a high priestess named Ashur-uribalt took the title of king and initiated a tradition of military campaigns, effectively transforming Assyria from a city-state to a territorial state. This meant that a single administrative entity oversaw many places, cultures, and people. For the next 150 years, Assyria extended its reach and thrived. The loss of territories. In the 12th century, a mysterious catastrophe that still bewilders archaeologists caused the Assyrians to lose much of their territory. A few hundred years later, however, Assyrian kings began a new round of conquest. This time, they honed their administrative system into an empire that would last generations. The military power of Assyria. Assyrians were military innovators and merciless conquerors. During their conquest, they used siege tactics and cruel punishments for those who opposed them, including impalement and flailing. The weaponry of the Assyrian soldier were chariots, iron weapons, and siege equipment to dominate their enemies. The early Assyrians were a warrior society. This is the reason why Assyrian Empire was so powerful and successful when they fought. The growth of the empire. The growth of their empire was due in part to their strategy of deporting local populations, then shifting them around the empire to fulfill different needs. This resulted in breaking people's bonds with their homelands and severed loyalties among local groups. Once the Assyrians conquered an area, they built cities connected by well-maintained royal roads. Often, when a new king came to power, he would build a new capital, which with each move, a new palace and temple were lavishly decorated. The system basics and more military facts. Although kings claimed absolute power, we know that an extensive system of courtiers, provincial officers, and scholars influenced affairs. Assyrian rulers celebrated their military excursions by having representations of their exploits carved into the wall of their newly built palaces. But despite the picture of ruthless war state projected by these records, the Assyrian kings were also interested in the cultural traditions of the region, especially those of Babylonia, a separate state in the south. Fun fact, there was a point in time where at least one woman, Samuramata, ruled the kingdom. Info about Babylonia. The Assyrian saw itself as the inheritor and protector of the traditions in Babylonia. Also, Babylonia had been a cultural leader for millennia, stretching back to the beginning of writing at the end of the 4th millennia BCE. Assyrian rulers supported scholars in specialities ranging from medicine to magic, and the capital cities, like Nineveh, were home to elaborate parks and gardens that housed plants and animals from around the empire. One of Assyria's final rulers, Ashurbanipal, sent scholars throughout Babylonia to gather up and copy ancient literary works. Ashurbanipal's library took the form of clay tablets inscribed with sun form, one of the oldest forms of writing known, in the language of Akkadian and Sumerian. Sadly, the library was lost during the final sack of Nineveh in 1612, but thanks to a 19th century archaeologist excavating many masterpieces of ancient literature, including the epic Gilgamesh and the Babylonian creation epic, which survived. How it all fell. After centuries of rule, the Assyrian Empire fell to the Babylonians and Medes between 1612 and 609 BCE. Yet the innovations that the Assyrians pioneered live on. Their emphasis on constant innovation, efficient administration, and excellent infrastructure set the standard for every empire that's followed them in the region and across the globe. Thank you for listening.